Falsies, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is something that I was planning on doing for a few days now. So I recently came across Smitha Deepak's makeup tutorial. She basically posts this amazing makeup looks and eyeshadow tips and tricks for helping the beginners and all. So I wanted to recreate one of her makeup tip that she shared recently on her YouTube channel. So I'll leave her YouTube details in the description box, and also I'll be playing a clip over here so that we can follow together how she's doing it and everything. So if you have not seen that video, I will highly recommend it. I'm really excited to try this out. Also, she is so damn gorgeous and I absolutely love her makeup looks and how she comes up with this beautiful unique tips and tricks. So yeah, so I'm really excited to give this a try and hopefully it works out for you. So this recent video that she posted on her YouTube is related to a small tip where she uses 3 eyeshadows. You can use matte, you can use metallic, you can use a combination of any of the textures you want, and you just have to use 3 eyeshadows and use a dabbing motion, and we are just going to do that today. So I'm really intrigued on how it will turn up, and yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Right, so I'm quickly going to insert her video over here and we're going to watch it together and do the tutorial.
Pretty sure you've seen these sponge brushes that we receive in eyeshadow palettes. We completely ignore them and sometimes even throw them off. I save all of mine for a good reason. These brushes pack a punch and I'll show you how. But before that, let's go ahead and prime the lid.
Absolutely. Those sponge tip applicators are so good to apply metallic eyeshadows. I absolutely love that. So it's this one. This is from Maybelline, the Nudes eyeshadow palette, and I got this, I think, years back when I got the palette. I use this almost every single time that I do my metallic eyeshadows or anything to pack a punch. So I really like this. The other side is actually a little bit more not ready to use, so I'm going to use this particular side for whatever she's going to do. Let's continue watching.
And for that, I'm going to be using the Louise base, and this is in the shade Rumor 2. To make eyeshadows pop, you need to have that perfect blank canvas, for which you will need a base or a primer. If you don't have a primer, you can also use your favorite concealer. The Louise base is thick, it gives you full coverage, and it doesn't crack or crease, and that's what I absolutely love about this formula. So I don't really have to set it with any powder.
Great, so I have heard amazing things about Louise base, but unfortunately I don't have it. I'm actually going to use a concealer. This is the e.l.f. Camo concealer, and this one is in the shade Tan Sand, and this is fairly lighter to my skin tone, and this is pretty thick, just like she says, and it really grips to the product whatever you're applying on top. So use a primer, any primer that you have. If you don't have a primer, you can go ahead and use a concealer, and that is what I'm going to do today. So I'm just going to take a little bit on the back of my hand, and I'm going to use EY222 by PAC, and just going to apply this concealer all over my eyelid. So as you can see, I'm going to start off from bottom and then apply it just to the entire eyelid. I just like to feather out the edges with my finger, and that looks pretty good.
Today I'm going to be using a neutral palette. This is the signature palette in Luxe from Ofra Cosmetics. When I demonstrate new techniques, I like to work with neutrals because they're universal and everybody can use them. And of course, you're welcome to substitute these with any colors. From the palette, I'm choosing the lightest shade. With the sponge brush, I'm going to simply place it in the inner third. And then I'm going to choose a medium toned shade for the center of the lid, and with the brush I'm just going to place it there. And then I'm going to choose the deepest shade for the outer corner. Again, I'm just going to simply place it there with the sponge brush.
Alright, so I don't have the Ofra Cosmetics palette, but I recently got my hands on the Nicka Autumn Spice palette. This is so gorgeous. This has this beautiful warm tones and a few metallic shades that I wanted to try from this. So I'm actually going to use this palette. So for the first shade, I'm actually going to take this one from the palette. It's slightly crumbly. I hope it works. So yeah, I just grabbed a little bit on the brush. I'm going to apply this on the inner corner. That is actually pretty pigmented, guys. I know it is a little crumbly. I'm just trying to diffuse that crumb a little, but it's not happening. But yeah, that is pretty pigmented. So the next shade that I'm going to take is this. The shade is a little crumbly, as you can see. I was not expecting that. No problem. I'm just going to apply this on the center. These are actually not the best metallics that I have tried, but we will kind of make it work. And then for the final shade, I'm going to use the chocolate shade from the palette. It is a matte eyeshadow. Just going to grab this on the same brush and then apply it on the outer corner. Oh, wow, that's nice and pigmented.
Comes the fun part, which is the blending part. And yes, I said fun part because we'll be dabbing instead of blending. And I promise you, dabbing is the easiest form of blending. You can never go wrong with it. But you just need the right brush. My favorite one is from Milani. This is how it looks. It's soft like a blending brush, but unlike a blending brush, it's also stiff and firm. I also like the e.l.f. brush. This is actually a concealer brush which I use for dabbing. I'm going to link all of these in the description box below. With this brush,
great. I don't have those brushes, but I have something similar. This is Pro Arty PE23 and it is also a fluffy brush, but at the same time a little bit thicker at the end, and it is a little bit dense, so it works really good for dabbing and blending, hopefully. So let's give this a try.
I'm going to start dabbing on my lids. I'm going to choose 2 eyeshadows at a time to blend them together. I'm starting with the inner corner and dabbing very gently. That's all I have to do, and the brush is taking care of all the blending for me. And as you can see, that has blended so beautifully.
That actually looks really good. I hope this turns out that well. So yeah, I'm going to start off with the inner 2 corners, or this first 2 eyeshadows, and I'm going to dab. Those 2 shades actually blended out pretty good. I think that was pretty nice, seamless looking blend. I see a little bit of fallout. I hope the camera is able to pick. I should have applied a little bit of setting spray underneath, but it's too late now. We'll try to dust it off later. Let's continue.
And I'm going to be repeating the same in the outer corner, and I'm using the same brush. I haven't even cleaned the brush. I want some of that residue to be left in the brush. That's when you get that seamless blend. And while dabbing, make sure you go over both the eyeshadows. That's when they combine together and blend beautifully.
Great, so we're going to do the outer corner now. I have not cleaned the brush. It has a little bit of glittery particles in it, and I'm going to do the same. Also, she told to go on top and then blend, so we're going to do that. We're going to go all over and dab. Just bringing it a little up because I have hooded eyes, so I want this crease to be nice and defined. Well, that is very nicely blended, guys.
You can do these with shimmer shades or matte shades or metallic shades, or you can mix and match like I've done here. And that looks absolutely stunning. Now I'm going to be using the sponge brush. I'm going to dip into this lighter brown shade and just apply it in the outer half of my crease. And then using the same dabbing brush, I'm going to dab that till it's well blended into the other eyeshadows and it flows out and melts into my skin tone.
Great, so I was actually looking out for this step because I have hooded lids, guys, and if I don't blend out this crease, it just looks like I have not applied anything, and it's of no use to use all these eyeshadows. So always have to have a little depth, but at the same time blend out the crease a little bit. I'll be using this shade over here. I'm going to use the same brush and apply it on the crease, and we're going to use the dabbing motion again and blend. I'm trying to get this to the inner part as well. That's actually so nice and blended. I'm pretty surprised.
And then I'm going to be using the lighter shimmer to highlight my brow bones as well as inner corners.
So yeah, I'm actually going to use that brown eyeshadow that I used on the outer corner, just on the lash line. It's nice and blended. I'm going to use, I think, this white eyeshadow on the inner corners and also on the brow bone. It is a matte and oh my god, that's so pigmented. It's such a pretty shade, guys. It looks so good. Just going to bring it in. I'm quickly going to do the other eye and be right back. Well, I just did the other side of my eye. It was really quick actually. For this eye, we were doing it together. I was talking, experimenting, but when I just followed something on this eye, it hardly took me like 10 minutes. So it was really that simple and that quick. So yeah, we are going to go ahead and curl our eyelashes and apply mascara.
I'm going to finish up with some mascara, but before that I'm going to curl my lashes, and for mascara I'm going to be using the highly rated mascara by Milani.
And for the mascara I'm going to use the Maybelline Falsies Push Up Drama Mascara.
And that's pretty much it. How beautiful and effortless is that? And that blending, it's probably the easiest way to blend, especially when I'm in a hurry.
And to finish off, I'm going to use Ofra Cosmetics Havana Nights liquid lipstick. It's been ages since I have used this. I think I'm just going to add a little gloss. Nowadays I cannot apply any lipstick without gloss, so well, that's the entire makeup look, guys. I hope you like it. I absolutely love it. The eyeshadow is nice and blended. You can see the definition of 3 colors and also the crease, but it is nice and diffused and blended. I just wish the eyeshadows, the actual palette that I used, the Nicka K1, was a little bit more pigmented, a little bit more metallic, but this was the first time that I was using it and I quite enjoyed it. But I just feel it should have had a little bit more of something to it. It's not that metallic, but for the price point I think this is really good, beginners friendly eyeshadow palette. So coming to the technique that we used from Smitha Deepak's tutorial, I think that is really great and will be so helpful for the beginners. I absolutely love the way she have explained it. Also, the brushes that she used, the sponge tip applicator is the best when applying eyeshadows, packing the product on top of the lid. I will highly recommend this. And the dabbing motion that she showed, it simply just blended 2 colors together and gave this beautiful diffused look to your eyeshadow. So I'll leave the link of her video in the description box. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you do, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell notification icon to get notified whenever I upload a new video. And that's pretty much it. I'll see you soon in my next one.